Hi, I'm Nate with Average Jack Archery Pro Shopping Range here in Phillipsburg, PA. And yes, we've come down to the very echoey basement range to talk about the brand new Athens Axxis 31, which is new for 2024. So we're a proud Athens dealer here in Phillipsburg, PA on 21 North Front Street. If you're interested in coming down and trying an Athens for yourself, and if you like this bow or any other bow we might have in stock, we're happy to ship it to you. But today we're not about selling the bow, we're about showing you the bow. And so this is the 31-inch platform. I've also done videos on the 33-inch platform that they have. They also have a 35, and then the Veil 38, which is their target bow, which I've been shooting very successfully all indoor season long during the wintertime. Lancaster, local shoots, it's been great. I can't wait to finally take it outside into 3D season. But real quick specs on the bow. So 31 inches axle to axle. You have a 7-inch brace height. Has the option of a Picatinny front sight rail. You have integrated, even though I have the standard bolt on here, I just have a whisker biscuit. You have stabilizer bushings right here as well down at the bottom. That's becoming more and more common across the industry, and a rear stabilizer bushing as well. Typical string stop, the Athens grip that we saw on the Elevate last year has come across to all of the hunting bows, 31, 33, 35. We're still dealing with the RTX cam system. It's now the RTX 3. We'll explain why in a second. It's a very smooth draw cycle. You still have, just like in 2023, the adjustment right here with no bow press necessary, no module change necessary. You have the ability right here to change from 70 to 90% let off with just one loosening of that torque screw, slide it in and out both top and bottom, and it goes in 5% increments there. But really, the adjustment is infinite. It is a rotating module in half-inch increments. This bow here, the 31, goes up to 31 inches of draw length, and all the way up to the Veil, which goes to like 33 and a half or something ridiculous like that. So lots of different options for lots of different archers. Comes with gas high-octane bowstrings right out of the factory. Gas is my personal favorite set of string cables, so it's nice to have it stock on the bow. The coolest thing over the Elevate and the Vista series of the past is the AccuTune technology, which allows you, and we're going to do it here today on camera, the ability to tune this cam, both top and bottom, right on the axle. No press, no shims, no fussing around. You loosen a set screw, tighten it back up, work the AccuTune, and you're right back to square one. You're shimming right there on the shooting line, right in front of paper. So I'm gonna shoot this a little bit. I got a couple different grain weights of arrows here. We're gonna shoot through the chrono. I don't give a rip about speed, but people seem to like it. I actually want to show the comparison of this speed versus the hunting bow I was shooting last year, and really show you that it's not super necessary. Last thing here, Athens does really great work on their colors. This is the Scree Whitetail, which is a new color for Athens for 2024. They offer some of their own in-house camo patterns. They have their Conifer Gray, which was a superbly popular pattern last year. They offer a lot of solid colors, greens and earth browns and blacks and all that sort of stuff. So street price on this is going to run you around the $12.99 mark, so it's right up in there. Full MSRP, I believe, is $13.99. So right up there with everybody else's flagship level bow, but particularly with that AccuTune system, all the other adjustments and integrated things, a roller guard, nice strings, it makes sense. So like I said, I don't give two figs about speed. It's not something I get behind, you know, set it to 30-inch, 70 pounds, you know, and then shoot a 350 grain arrow. I actually have a video, and I'll link it in the description below, maybe through a card on the screen, where I went through 3 different chronos, and there was like a 25 foot per second discrepancy between all 3 of them. These typical pro chronos, these gray ones that are consumer level, are quite often cold. They don't run nearly as hot as the ones that they would actually use at the factory. So speeds are always slower. That's just the end of the day. Anywhere between 10 and 20 feet per second slower. That's what I've seen from all other YouTube reviewers across the industry. So I just have this set up at 2970. 29 inches of draw length is about the sweet spot for a 31-inch axle-to-axle shooter. Once you get over that, it can get a little bit different. Even though it goes to a 31-inch draw, be a little twitchier, whatever. Might want to bump to 33. But if you want a really nice lightweight bow, this bow comes in at 4.4 pounds with the whisker biscuit, the limb dampeners, and the tag attached. So 4.4 for a 31-inch axle-to-axle bow is right on par with everybody else pretty much in the industry. So right here, I've got a 340 spine gold tip hunter. This is every dude's working man's bow hunting arrow. It's cut to 28 inches, 100 grain point, comes out to 396 grains. You know, as much as people might want to say, oh, we're shooting, you know, we're trying this different arrow weight and we're getting this foot per second. The lion's share of guys are shooting a 400, 340, or a 300 spine arrow, cut to their draw length with 100 or 125 grain broadhead. So that's what I have here in this little bouquet of arrows here to kind of show us some real world speeds. So here we go, 2970. So obvious, oh, and it's at 90% let off. So obviously this is way too short for me, but I want to see some feet per second. So 396 grain arrow. 292. So 292 is pretty daggum quick. I think that arrow is probably a little bit under spine for 2970, but 292 is pretty snappy. We'll shoot another one here. As much as people might want to tell you they're shooting 550, 600, 650 grain arrows, the lion's share of people coming into my shop are not doing that. Duplicate, 292 feet a second. We're not even going to shoot the third one. Here we have a Victory V-Force TKO. This is a 300 spine, 100 grain point up front. It's cut a little long. This is one of my old hunting arrows. 445 grains of total arrow weight. 276. 276 at a 450 grain arrow. That's pretty much everybody's hunting arrow is in. Most guys are between 410 and 450. Like I said, that's cut to 31 inches, so it's definitely a little bit on the longer side. And that VF TKO is heavy. It's like a 9 and change GPI. Getting 276 out of it is very solid. Here we have a Sirius Orion 166. This is 495 grains. 264. So that actually maintains a pretty good amount of speed there as it gets heavier. We added almost 50 grains. Actually, we did add 50 grains of arrow weight, and we only dropped 12 feet a second. So that's pretty good. And 264 out of a hunting bow, shooting a 500 grain arrow at 2970. That's really par for the course. Here was my actual hunting arrow that I hunted with last year. This is a Sirius Supernova. This is 455 with a 125 grain point. Again, cut super long. For this bow anyway. 277, it's right there with that 445 grainer. So that's very, very solid numbers out of a typical flagship bow, particularly with a 7-inch brace height. Any whitetail, elk, mule deer, antelope, 264 to almost 300 feet a second with all those different weights of arrows, they're all gonna die. So last year, due to unforeseen circumstances, I had to work with my backup hunting bow. I usually shoot a Vista 35, but I ended up actually giving it to a customer on loan because their bow needed a warranty and it was 9 days before season, and that's the kind of bow shop owner I am. So I just shot my backup hunting bow with my hunting arrow from last year, again, about 455 grains, and I was shooting it at 3170. And I got 268 feet a second. So I had to add 2 inches of draw length, and I am still way short of the number that I'm getting out of the 7-inch brace height on the Axxis 31. So speed is not important whatsoever. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what their chronos say. The flagship level bows from any major manufacturer, particularly Athens, it doesn't matter. They're all great for the hunting woods. So I've wheeled the chrono out of the way and I've brought over the paper tuning stand. We're about, I don't know, 6 feet here, maybe 7. And then of course we have ample space between the paper and the target bale behind us so we don't get weird tears. I just have a whisker biscuit on here that doesn't have vertical travel, but I definitely want to show you the usefulness of the AccuTune with this lateral travel. So this bow at 2970, you should be shooting a 300 spine arrow, particularly if you cut it to 2930. These arrows are cut a little bit long. This is a 300 spine cut to 31 inches. This is an old hunting arrow of mine, 100 grain point. I have the whisker biscuit set up to 13, or just outside of 13/16 rather, to 7/8. That's what Athens recommends for center shot. And the AccuTune system, in the sight window of the AccuTune, you may or may not be able to see it there, it's in the middle of those witness marks, both top and bottom on the cam. Okay, so that's how it came out of the factory. That's just right down the middle. So we're just gonna leave it there. I wound the set screws out already because they're not gonna fly out. The AccuTune's not gonna move, but I'll show you how that whole system works in a second. So let's shoot this through paper and let's see what the initial tear looks like. Even though this arrow isn't the perfect build for this bow, and it's a bare shaft, we'll see. Nasty. We have a high and left tear. So the point impacted down, and then it's going up to the left here. Let's do it again. Whisker biscuits are not the most forgiving things, but I'm not worried about the vertical travel right now as much as I am the horizontal. Exact same tear, so very consistent. So let's work on the AccuTune. So the AccuTune here has the set screw in the back, which like I said, I've already wound out. You work that with a 1/16 inch Allen key. Set screw right here, it's already wound out. Then you have the red cup in here, which receives a 1/4 inch Allen key. So I already have them both wound out, both top and bottom, so I'm gonna take a 1/4 inch Allen key, and I need to move the cams in the direction of the knock. Okay, move the cams in the direction of the knock. That is true whether you shoot this, the Bowtech Deadlock, or anything else like that, or just regular good old plastic shims like we had to on the Vista and the Elevate. So I have the point is down to the right and the fletching, or these are bare shafts, but fletch or knock position is to the left. So I'm gonna move the cams to the left. We do have witness marks on here with how much to move it. I have a pretty aggressive tear down there. I would say it's solid inch. So I'm gonna give these a pretty good turn to go to the left. And think about this, right? It's righty-tighty. So bringing it righty is gonna suck it to the right, and taking it to the left is gonna push it to the left. And you can just, of course, watch here in the sight window. So I'm actually gonna go between the witness marks here, between the witness mark 1 and 2. So I've now moved it, so now in the sight window, it is now further over to the left than it was when we started, both top and bottom equally. My witness mark up here at the top. I always thought this was the witness mark when that's just clamped. The witness mark's up here at the top, and I have that lined up there. So now I'm gonna take my 1/16, and I am gonna lock this down. Now these little screws here, you'll hear them. There's no Loctite, it's just anodizing that's in there. They're just dry. So you don't need to reef on them. That's good right there. A little finger tight. Basically when they sit, I've discovered so far in playing with this for the past couple of months, selling these bows, once it's flush here with the back of the AccuTune system, you don't need to reef it any further. It's made full positive contact. So let's see if that made a difference. Again, vertical travel, not worried about that. That's rest height, that's knocking height, that's not what we're interested in. I'm interested in those lateral tears. Definitely made it shorter. Come on, take a look. So very obviously, here was our first tear, our second tear, third tear. Notice how it has come significantly shorter from way far left to we've cut the distance almost in half. And we didn't even have to move it that far. So let's move it to the next witness mark over and see if we can get this to be just a straight little up and down tear. You need to back these out. Once you have them seated, you need to back them out 2 full turns. As per the manual. You definitely don't want to back them out too far. That's too tiny of a screw to lose. All right, so we're gonna back this over to the next witness mark. Again, stick a 1/4 inch Allen key in here. If I wasn't talking through this, I'd be done by now, but for the sake of video. All right, so now we're in that witness mark over there. And there's no right or wrong answer. There are no detents in here, so it's not like you have to snap it to the next line. It's just there for reference, for lining it up. So here, I'm actually in between 2 witness marks here with the brackets witness mark, and same thing down here, I'm actually in between. So there's no detents or anything. You could do whatever you need to necessary to make sure it's tuning. You can see there it's actually in between the 2. It's not actually lined up on one. As long as they are basically the same, both top and bottom, you know, there's nothing else to do. Some people like to, when they've shimmed in the past, they'll just shim one cam or the other. That makes sense if the bow had yokes, like then you're just yoke tuning the top cam. But realistically, if you have a bow that is able to be shimmed like this, both top and bottom, do both of them. Move them equidistantly and in the same direction, obviously. We have an almost perfect bullet hole. All right, so some perspective here. Where we started, first 2, moved a little bit, now we're here. Moved a little bit more, and it got even shorter, right? So you can see this is obviously the trajectory that we're headed. Definitely it'd be nice to probably also shoot an arrow that's maybe a little bit more suited, cut to the right length, maybe the right spine. 340 or 300 might be a little stiff for 2970, but you can see the obvious trajectory here. We haven't changed anything. And I'm shooting a bow that's 2 inches too short for my draw length. We're definitely almost there. I bet you if we were a drop away, we'd have a bullet hole by now. So there you have it, the Athens Axxis 31 with the AccuTune system, which is coming on the 31, 33, 35, and Veil 38. I can attest to the Veil 38 as I've shot it. I don't even know how many thousands of arrows this winter. that AccuTune system is a godsend. No more little fiddly shims, 2 Allen keys, and a little bit of a turn. And you can get anything from size 27s down to micro diameters flying exactly the way you need to. So that's the first overlook and review here for the channel. If you have any questions on the Axxis 31 or any of the Athens bows that we have here in store, either currently or in the past, do feel free to reach out to us on socials over at Average Jack Archery. You can always send us an email, averagejackarchery@gmail.com, or of course you can always leave a comment here on YouTube. Again, if you want to call Average Jack Archery Pro Shop and Range your home shop, we're here at 21 North Front Street in Phillipsburg, PA. You're always welcome to check us out at averagejackarchery.com. Hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation. Enjoy your bow, and we'll get to see you next time.